I'm Allison Jonjak, the Cranberry Outreach Specialist with the University of Wisconsin-Madison Division of Extension. These videos are the on-demand recordings of UW Extension and the Wisconsin State Cranberry Growers Association's virtual Brown Bag Lunch series. These monthly sessions offer growers and researchers a way to share timely and relevant information. We hope you'll enjoy and continue to engage with us.
Hi, everyone. My name is Grant Holly. I'm the Executive Director of the Wisconsin State Cranberry Growers Association. We are very happy to be able to partner with UW Extension to bring you the research needed to be able to navigate our ever-changing environment. I'd like to thank all of our speakers today for their valuable time and leadership, the growers for joining us, and Allison for being the catalyst from which all of these sessions rely. Thank you so much.
If you have a question, you're welcome to unmute yourself and ask a question, or you can put a question in the chat. I will be watching the chat and I can ask those questions to the presenter. If you'd like to ask a question anonymously, use the drop down and say, ask a question to Allison Jonjak, and I will ask that question anonymously on your behalf. Today, I'll go ahead and jump into our agenda. We're going to flip the order here, and hopefully Dr. Shinya Ikeda will be able to go first and talk about an introduction to him, his work, his goals here. Then we'll have Dave Jones giving us some field updates, the Senior Ag Scientist at Ocean Spray. And then finally, I will give an overview of how to use the EPA Bulletins Live Two website. But before we do that, I have been expecting to see Tom logging in, but I know Tom has a lot on his plate this week. And so in an absence of Tom at this particular moment, I will take the initiative to introduce Grant Holly to you. Dr. Grant Holly, who is the incoming Executive Director of the Wisconsin State Cranberry Growers Association. So give us your welcome.
Welcome. How's everybody doing? I'm super excited to be able to be here today. I'm at the research station. I've been here with a number of your leaders already, and I gotta say that it's just one of the most healthy and happy communities I've ever been a part of. And thank you. This is day 5 of me being on the job, and I'm still learning as we go, but please reach out and hopefully we'll all talk soon.
Yeah, thank you so much. We're extremely glad to be able to have Grant it's been a fantastic 5 days. We're looking forward to the next many more.
It has. It's been a busy 5 days. It's cranberries are popping everywhere.
Awesome. So thank you, and look forward to seeing more of Grant in future. I assume we'll have introductions for the grower community and everything, but wanted to take the moment, since we were all here in one place, say hello. So I'm imagining that once I start the paperwork based part of the slideshow, that everyone's going to come in with a lot of questions and hopefully bring us back into growing conditions. But until we have those questions come in, thanks Dave, and also Pam, Suzanne, and Sarah for your contributions to that as well. All right, so I'm going to dive in then, and I will keep watching the chat. You've probably been aware of the increased importance or prevalence of enforcement of the Endangered Species Act. So I'm going to go over today the EPA Bulletins Live Two. I have down here at the bottom a YouTube link, which is the source, which is the video from the EPA for using their Bulletins Live Two website. Hopefully I'm able to take that down from an hour and a half into a nice 15-minute, like, here's just the facts that you need to know. And so the question, I guess, is knowing when do you need to use this EPA Bulletins Live Two? The answer is when you look at, well, I'll give a little extra background first. You're all familiar with the pesticide label. It's going to tell you everything that you need to know in order to make a legal application of that pesticide. And sometimes they'll have a note saying, check for a special registration. You're familiar with these kind of printed special registrations that we've had for a couple of products in the past. Understanding the rate at which the EPA plans to issue pesticide use restriction areas based on the presence of endangered species. If you had to print out a booklet of every county in the US as part of the label, our labels would be thicker than our pesticide packages. So they said, all right, in order to do this timely and in order to do this in a non, just in a possible way at all, we're going to use online maps to help people identify when we have time sensitive restrictions or, wind speed sensitive restrictions, these sorts of things. So when you are looking at a pesticide label, there will be a tip off on the label that says, hey, there are additional endangered species requirements for this product. And so the older instructions that you might see, I have in the top right of the page here, and it just gives you endangered species requirements. Go to this long web page or call this number. You must use the bulletin valid for the month in which you're applying the product. There's a new format that gives more information, a shorter URL that you can click on, and also tech support phone number as well as tech support email. So if you are looking at your chemistry label and you see an endangered species requirement, go before you, and I would actually say, before you purchase the product, as you're talking with your handler, and say, before, here's my plan for the year, go and double check these Bulletins Live 2 for your marsh for the month that you plan to make the application. They are asking us to, not asking, it is the law. If there is a PULA, the use requirement area for your marsh, you will have to print out this bulletin and keep it with your label as part of your records. It's basically a supplemental label that you'll need to print, and you will need to keep a copy of it. So I want to actually go through the process of doing this. So epa.gov/pesticides/bulletins. I've pasted the Intrepid label here because at this time, the only Endangered Species Act protected species that interacts with the cranberry growing region and cranberry products that are used is the Carner blue butterfly. I'm going to go to the Bulletins Live 2. Oh, for goodness sakes, what fun. I really would love to just be able to have it. And that's one of, all right, so here we go. There we go, perfect. So I'm going to, because I'm at the research station today, I'm going to give, there are two ways to use this. And first, I'm going to give the the way that you'll use it the most frequently. So rather than just typing in my current location, because I don't have the location information enabled on my laptop, I am going to zoom in here in this map to the research station just outside of Millston, Wisconsin. You can see I've clicked this button to change from the street map mode to the terrain mode, and then I can also use this eyeball button to make the pink things become a little less aggressive so that I can zoom in and find the research station here. And so here I am looking at the research station. I'm going to zoom in closer because I see this extra circle, and I only want to see the area that I'm actually going to be making my application. I'm going to jump back to my presentation and see that the EPA number for Intrepid is 62719-442. 62719-442. So 62719-442. That will pull up Intrepid 2F. And I have told it that I plan to make this application in June, and it will tell me you have, as I click here, it will say, yes, there is a selected area limitation. I'd love for it to be able to click and show me that. All right, well, in the absence of that, I will do the part that you have to do for your record keeping, which is to, this did work yesterday. What fun. So in that case, okay, here, so zooming out a little better apparently helped it. I do have this Intrepid 2F insecticide withstand. I'm going to click printable bulletin. And it is going to open this bulletin. I will print a copy of it and keep it with my application records. It's going to give me this pesticide use summary table. Down here, the use that we are obviously using is cranberries. You can scroll down and see all other uses, and they have different restrictions, but our code here is 1A. I will then scroll down to see what 1A means, and it means do not apply this within the pesticide use limitation area unless you're a partner to the Carner Blue Butterfly Habitat Conservation Plan, or 2, you're included under the voluntary participation category. If you're in either of those, then you are, even then, if you're in those, you are still limited to ground application methods or chemigration, so this cannot be aerially applied. Ground applications must be made with a drift retardant and with nozzles that produce a coarse droplet size. They give the median as 450 to 500 microns there, and wind speed between 2 and 10. Similarly, chemigration has to be consistent with the instructions. So if you are in an area that turns up pink, when you search for Intrepid, you need to print this label or print this bulletin, and that is an additional part of the label. So you do need to follow that in order to be applying the material in a manner consistent with its label. I'll give 2 more examples for using this site. And so I'm gonna hit refresh here. And I'm gonna pretend that rather than growing in Black River Falls, I'm going to pretend that I am growing in Rhinelander, and up here by Rhinelander, I am still going to do a June application, and let's see if I can remember the EPA code. It looks like it is 62719-442, 62719-442. Intrepid. Okay, that did populate. Hey, there is no Pula here. There's no pink cover over thing. So I'm just going to click here. I'm going to choose printable bulletin. It's going to give me a new bulletin, which I will also open. And this says, hey, you do not have this limitation. No pesticide use limitations exist within the printed map view for the month, year, and product use selected beyond what's already on the label. You can still print this and keep it with your files if that is something that helps you feel like you're doing the right thing. Finally, I want to show, blanking the search again, I want to show what it looks like for areas that have multiple overlapping use limitations. And so if I am back at the research station, and I really do benefit from using that toggle to put it in map mode over here at the research station. If I have not searched for anything, I can click on this area and it will give me both of the products that have a limitation here. So if I were not a cranberry farmer and I was planning to use dicamba, I would notice that I have dicamba restrictions here in addition to the Intrepid restrictions that we also have. And if we happen to be growing cranberries just a little bit to the west, there would also be a cyantraniliprole or Exirel, an Exirel pesticide use limitation area. So if we were just over there, we would also have this set to go through. So I do recommend all of you, I'm going to paste in the chat this website. Go ahead and take a moment to take yourself to that site. Here's my chat. And find out right now if there are any limitations where you're at. You are required now to do this. You need to have printed a bulletin 6 months before you make the application. I think they made that 6-month window to encourage you looking this up before you've purchased a product. And then, once you've purchased the product, you do need to use it in that time zone. So if you selected June and it turns into July 1st, you actually do have to print a new bulletin for yourself. So there are plenty of rules and regulations, and I think that we are currently in the rollout phase of this, but I imagine it is going to become more and more used in the coming months and years. So I want to give everyone the opportunity to play around with this, see how it works. Right now, we mainly have Intrepid to concern ourselves with, and then you'll be ready for it as more things creep up into the horizon. They do have frequently asked questions, resources. They have an email address, espp@epa.gov, and a hotline. And they're currently not overburdened, but they say they do get more calls each time a new product is added. If a human doesn't answer when you call by phone, leave a message and you will get a call back from a human. They do also note that they often can reply to email more quickly. So go ahead and send an email. And if it is something urgent, do just mention that it is urgent. I know that is probably not the most yeah, I feel like both Shinya and Dave's presentations had maybe more news you can use, but I hope that was palatable, and we'll be able to work on that. And if you have questions on it in the future, feel free to reach out to me. I also want to mention that next month, we usually are the third Friday of the month. Next month, we're going to be the fourth Friday of the month. Amaya, really wants to get her nutrient and water translocation into berries talk that was deferred from Cranberry School to you before those berries are set and translocating water and nutrients. So here is the registration for that, just since it's an unusual day. I did see a question come in, and I want to encourage more questions. We've got like 8 minutes left in the hour, so I'm going to paste this to you all so you can register for the next brown. Any questions from brave souls who have looked at the Bulletins Live 2 website yet? I'm hoping that I'm doing an honorable job displaying that system in a way that makes it easy for you to use. I guess I don't need to take extra minutes if people are feeling quiet.